Well, no, not really, because you're under pressure to make because you're the director. You're under pressure to make the film good, because ultimately it's your responsibility. You know, if it's a good film, everybody will accept responsibility for it being a good film. If it's a bad film, they will make sure that the director accepts responsibility for it being a bad film. And so you've always got that pressure from day one. The fact that people are expecting to get paid from this has not been an extra worry, because I've always believed in it as a commercial project, and we've not promised people fast, wages here. The amount of money that we've been promising, that we have promised, we can make from 2 sales of the video, 2 sales of the production, and that's not the concern. The concern has always been, am I making the best film that we can with the available resources that we have? I think we have.
On the financing side of the film, was it difficult to get funding?
It was almost impossible to get funding. Gary did a very good job of getting hold of cash to oil the cogs. In terms of pre-production, there was about, in virtual money, there's probably about £500,000 spent, but the actual money for the production on a day-to-day basis was sorted out by approaching small companies, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult to convince people to give you money to make a film, because it's kind of pie in the sky to a lot of them, and in this country it just doesn't happen. In America it's a lot easier to get finance, because people accept film as a way of making money, as it's a viable financial option, but in this country it's kind of seen as a bit of a weirdo's pursuit.
How do you feel about directing films?
What do you mean?
Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? I've always been I've always been drawn to storytelling. I've always been drawn to sort of creating a self-contained reality. I've always, I'm fascinated, particularly in science fiction and fantasy, because you're not just representing a easily graspable, recognisable world. You're actually creating something that's completely new, and you're creating a world that you're bringing complete fantasy to life, and you can illustrate stories in a really exciting visual way. And really, I think the main reason that I've always made films is really just to tell really good stories, cracking good stories. I always wanted to be either a comic book illustrator or a writer or a filmmaker, and I ended up making films.
Would you do a sequel?
Not on a low budget, no. I would like to. I think it would warrant a sequel, but what I would rather do is remake it with a budget. Do a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do but couldn't, and do it properly. Because there's a lot of scenes in this that are really kind of cut down 5% of what they should have been, because we didn't have the money. Well, before late, and not in the next 5 minutes.
Right. Unknown.
Well, no, we have a release. We have a release date, but it's the kiss of death to put a release date on. To announce a release date, because if we had the money, we'd have it finished by Christmas and out in the shops. But we don't. So everybody, the editor, the post-production sound, the post-production effects people, the dubbing people, the Foley artists, all of these people are on deferral basis. So that means they do it whenever they've got the chance to. So it's a very long, slow process. The post-production is actually more difficult, and this is what a lot of people don't realise. Post-production is a lot more time-consuming and a lot more difficult than actually shooting the bloody thing. A lot more difficult.
Have you had any interest from abroad?
Yes, we have. There's a couple of companies that have shown an interest in putting in money to post-produce it towards finishing it, and it's all dependent on the first rough cut. So based on the first rough cut, if it's good enough, people there are company companies out there that will consider putting money into doing the special effects properly and getting a proper edit done, a proper sound edit. The most important thing I think is getting the sound post-production spot on.
I've heard you've had interest on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, they're interested in seeing it. They've not, with nothing promised from the Sci-Fi Channel, but we've got very good contacts with them, and we see them on a regular basis, and they've been very impressed by what we've done in the past. So, you know, I think we've got a really good shot at getting it on cable television distributed through them. But we'll see. I don't know. It might be an absolute turkey. You just never know.
Have you had any interest from Paramount Pictures at all? Any of the big American companies?
No, not the big ones. It's from some of the smaller companies, like Alibi. We've had interest, and they wanted to meet us. We're taking a trailer to Cannes this year, and hopefully a polished single scene from the film. So we'll see what happens from there.
What can you see Paramount Productions doing next?
There's two projects really that I want to do next. There's a TV series called Tales of the Legion. I want to do the pilot episode of that, and also there's another movie. There's two projects I want to do. There's Tales of the Legion, there's a TV series. I want to do the pilot episode, and there's also another movie called The Dark Order, which is a sci-fi action thriller revolving around a fabled relic, the Spear of Destiny, supposedly Adolf Hitler, and before him Charlemagne and others. So kind of a mythical fantasy action movie.
How much is that directors get paid by?
It varies. Some directors will be on a 7-year what they call a picture deal, or a 5-year picture deal, depending, and they would get a set fee for those years. So say for example somebody said, oh, we've got a 5-year picture deal for you, and it's $10 million for those 5 years, so you get $2 million a year for 5 years. Or you might get paid per picture, and it could vary from anything from 5% of the budget up to 15% of the budget. So for a $100 million feature, $5 million, $10 million.
Action! Okay. It's started. What's going on up there? Oh, okay, we've got to cut everybody.